Nicole Huntsman here from moderncosmic.com. We have got our sun sign compatibility here on this video. If you know what sun sign means, fast forward to the timestamp you see or the description of the video. So in Western astrology, we take the year, the 12 calendar months, okay, and we divide them up according to the Earth's relationship to the sun. And this makes sense if you think back in the day when we were farmers. The movement of the sun, it's actually our movement, the tilt of our Earth relative to the sun and how it affects the seasons was very important. Springtime, time to plant, summertime to take care of and tend the fields, and of course fall time to harvest, and then winter was time to preserve the things that you had stored and make them last till spring again. Now, in astrology, we look at these 4 important dates that are repeatable, they happen every year, and they are the spring equinox, the summer solstice, the fall equinox, and the winter solstice, okay? We have our zodiac signs all set up according to these solar events. In the springtime, when we have our spring equinox, March 21st, this is that time of year when the equator of the Earth is facing the sun, directly, and the Earth is level, so to speak. So, we are on an axis and the Earth tilts. At this point in the year, we're level. That's why you can spin an egg and it will spin. Now, that's the beginning of the zodiac year, and really should be the beginning of our year. It would make sense to have the time when we go from winter, where we have more darkness than light, to the time when it's equal. We have an equal amount of daylight and equal amount of darkness, and then we move into the time of the year, the spring, when we have more light and less darkness each day, okay, until we hit the summer solstice, where we have the most light, more light, and less of the darkness. So with the zodiac, your sun sign falls during a month between those 4 events. So your sun sign is going to fall into one of these segments, okay? We've got the 12 months divided up into 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, according to those solar events. And then in each of those sections, we have 3 zodiac signs, okay? Your sun sign is important in that it shows your general life force. If you think of the sun is the star in our solar system. It is the mass, the giant mass, relative to us anyway, that is holding our solar system together. Without the sun, without our star, we wouldn't be here, and if something happened to our sun, we would all die, we would perish. We eat food that's made from the energy of the sun. We are literally made of sun, which is pretty cool. Someone's sun sign shows you the basic premise upon which their personality is built. It's like a canvas that we're going to paint upon. It doesn't have any paint on it yet, it's just the canvas. Is it wood? Is it metal? Is it canvas? Is it a panel? Is it round? Is it square? How big is it? How little is it? The zodiac sign will sort of illuminate, and it will explain and make granular sort of this very basic part of what we have to work with, okay, with the personality. So it's the first step in building, when you're looking at an astrology birth chart, it's the first thing you look at because you're going to build upon it, all right? And then all the brushstrokes come with the moon and all the angular houses and the planets and the aspects between the planets. That's when it becomes a beautiful picture. But until then, it's just you're one of the 12 zodiac signs. This is very general. Sun signs are general. It's a general vibe. You've got someone who's kind of more of a feeler, someone who's more of a thinker. But there are all different types of feelers and there are all different types of thinkers, okay? We get that granularity by looking at the entire birth chart and by putting the 2 people together, okay? You can have a feeler and a thinker get together and be really happy if they've got other things in their birth chart that make nice compatibility interaspects. If for some reason your sun signs don't get along well, let's say we've got someone who is, let's say we've got a Capricorn and an Aquarius, very different energies. Capricorn's conservative, Aquarius is an iconoclast and does their own thing. On the surface, sun sign wise, these 2 aren't going to jive perfectly. But if you look underneath, maybe they have moons that are both in water, and it gives them an emotional warmth, or it gives them an emotional depth to the cooler Capricorn Aquarius facade. There's another thing you want to look at between your compatibility charts. There are several, but another important primary planetary aspect that you want to look at, or planetary placement, I should say, that you want to look at. And I'm going to talk about this at the end of the video, so stay tuned, watch the compatibility, and at the very end I'll explain to you how to find If your sun compatibility isn't great, there's another thing you can look at that will indicate whether or not the two of you are going to have long-lasting happiness together, or if it's going to be sort of a no-win battle, okay? All right, let's get on to our sun signs, and please leave me comments if you have questions, and this is going to be a lot of fun. Taurus are the individuals born April 20th through May 20th. Now, this is the time of year, if you were to imagine we're back 2,000 years and we're farming, this is the time of year we would be planting. We'd be planting our seeds, at least here in the northern hemisphere, which is where this type of astrology comes from, Western astrology. Taurus is all about the possession. It's all about the five senses of our physical bodies and operating through this physical these three dimensions that we are here in. So Taurus, ruled by Venus, has to do with the sensual pleasures of the body, but also this idea that we can, as individual protagonists in our own story, possess things. So this is our money, this is our physical possessions, and this is also things more abstract, I suppose. Our self-esteem and our talents, the things that we possess inside of ourselves. Taurus sun signs are slower moving, predictable. They like things to unfold in a way where they know what to expect. And if you think about a farm and you think about planting seeds, you do them if you want to be productive with your farm. You plant them in rows and you do them a certain amount of space between each other, and you water them regularly, and there's a consistency there, okay? There's a routine and an earthy sort of habit that is followed in order to be productive. Have a concrete, practical way of thinking, or way of being rather, because this is a sun sign. With a Taurus, you do have someone who's somewhat stubborn. They have in their mind a plan for how they'd like things to unfold, and they'll get there when they're going to get there, and you can't push them and prod them, okay? Now also, Taurus being ruled by Venus, these individuals appreciate nice things. A lot of times someone who has strong Taurus in their chart, they either like luxury items, they're highly motivated by working hard and making money, or they enjoy the arts, music, whether it's creating it or just listening to it and enjoying it and being a patron of the arts and music. These are very Taurus, and Taurus loves food. Again, and sex. This is the body, being in a body, having a spirit in this human form where we get to experience the pleasures of what comes with this body. On the high side with Taurus, we have steadfast, loyal, determined, artistic, usually. Sometimes they're not artistic. Sometimes it comes out in other ways, like it comes out in the enjoyment of the arts or the enjoyment of food and these things I've talked about before, the five senses. They are understanding and affectionate. They're calm. They like peace and harmony in their relationships. Okay, this is Venusian. They're practical, sensual, passionate people. Their passion is different than the Aries passion. The passion of a Taurus is more slower moving and sensual, and it's more consistent. You know, Aries, the sign we did earlier, would just kind of flare up, whereas Taurus is going to come out slowly and sensually. Now, on the shadow side, or if you've got a low-functioning Taurus, you can have someone who's stubborn, who's materialistic, who's hedonistic. They are focused way too much on the outside and not on the inside. There's an unmovable nature to a shadow, low-functioning Taurus. They can be possessive, afraid of change. They have a really strong need for security, and so they're afraid to sort of break out from situations they know aren't best for them. So they can overstay bad relationships or bad situations at work, or just life situations, just be in the same career for years that they don't like, but it's the devil you know is safer than the devil you don't know. And they can be a little lazy and a little vain. That's our Venus. Now this is low functioning. Taurus in love. Taurus appreciates beauty, all right? Taurus sun signs, whether it's male or female, whatever their personal idea of beauty is, they will have, it's going to be high on their list of things that will matter to them. They need to be physically attracted to their partner. They are quite lusty and sensual, the sun sign. Once they have gotten to know someone, once they've decided that this is the one for them, they're affectionate, and the way they show their love is through they do enjoy giving their partner gifts, sharing things with them, but also really affection and sex. There's a possessiveness to a Taurus. They're on the axis of possession with a Scorpio as well. So they can at times be a little bit possessive, and they need to know that their partner is theirs. So they can have some issues with security and needing to feel safe and secure. Taurus expectations in love. Taurus types, Taurus sun signs, they're looking for security, and they're looking for a relationship that is grounded in reality. They wouldn't really be stoked about a relationship that was like based on the internet, you know, like a long distance relationship, unless you had a Taurus with a ton of Aquarius in their chart, and that's a whole other story. But for the most part, Taurus, pure Taurus sun sign, they like to have you there in their presence. They want someone to build a life with. They want harmony. They want to enjoy the daily pleasures with their partner. They like good food. They like a nice regular sex life. They like to dance in the kitchen while they're cooking dinner together. They just want simple, authentic, real love. Okay, that's their expectations, and they expect loyalty. So you give that to them, and you have got a happy bull. Now, Taurus's biggest fear, they worry about security. This is why you've got a sun sign that's so focused on making money or proving themselves through their ability to be successful or have control over their ability to create income. That's why it's underneath it is an insecurity, a worry that they will be without. So this includes the partner. They do have a fear of their partner leaving them. And so they need a partner that is consistent, steady, does what they say they're going to do, shows up when they're supposed to, and is reliable. Ultimately, that will put their heart at ease and keep them happy and harmonious. So Libra sun signs are people born between September 23rd and October 22nd. Libra is a Venusian zodiac sign, meaning it's ruled by the planet Venus, the planet that for us symbolizes love and beauty and harmony. Okay, it's harmonizing socially and harmonizing aesthetically, this type of thing. These are the pleasures of life. Now, even if you listen to the sounds, if you've ever had a chance to listen to the NASA sounds of the planets, pretty cool. Like the Venusian, you hear, they took the, I believe it was the electromagnetic spectrum that's around Venus, or that's whatever it's giving off, and they turned it into audible sound waves. And Venus has this beautiful, haunting sound. Almost like a siren, or, you know, a mermaid. It's really beautiful. And Saturn has this really spooky, I'll have to post some videos on this. But at any rate, okay, so back to Libra. So with Libra, we've got, not only do we have the zodiac sign that's ruled by Venus, the planet has to do with harmonizing, you've also got the zodiac sign that falls right in the middle of our zodiac of 12 signs. You've got Libra's the 7th sign. So after you've moved through the first 6, which have to do a lot with personal development, you then move into 7 through 12, so Libra all the way through Pisces. These signs have to do with more so with our relating and the sort of energy, this back and forth with these people and the world around us, the wisdom of the world around us. And it starts with this Libran energy. Libra is the partnership. It's the harmonizing. The sign is, you know, the scales, which is fine. I mean, all the air signs are the only zodiac signs that have a human being in each of the, as part of the symbolism, okay? So Libra is this air sign that of all the air signs is the most sort of, it's right in the middle. It's this neutral, I would say even of all of the zodiac signs, there's a neutrality to Libra. And many times when you see Libra placed on the different planets besides the sun, it's hard to see how it's expressed. It can be overwritten by other, you know, zodiac signs that are perhaps stronger. It's like this neutralizing energy that can kind of make everything come together and compromise. It's like the Benjamin Franklin of the zodiac in a way. As far as love goes, you know, this makes Librans are natural peacemakers. They don't really like to fight. It's not that they don't. It's not that they mind conflict so far, or it's not so much that they mind conflict, it's that they want to quickly get to a place of harmony and fairness. They want to have things return to a place of equanimity, balance, where everyone feels like their needs are being taken care of, okay, and no one's being cheated. That's Libras don't like to see things, people being screwed. That brings out their opposite energy, which would be the Aryan side. That's all of us. All of our zodiac signs, our sun signs, hold the polar as well. So that will bring out that desire to fight in a Libra. With a high-functioning Libra, you've got someone who is diplomatic. They are a harmonizer. My kids' personal experience, or personal story, share this. I've got an Aries boy, a Taurus female, a Scorpio female, and a Libra female. Okay, my kids, my son and daughters. My Libra daughter, the youngest, has always been this sweetie. She's like the one that is just like easy and sweet and, you know, on the surface socially has great social manners, even as a pretty little dancer, knows how to pose for pictures. You know, Libra just has this Venusian quality. They've got this beauty to them, or this grace. And even if you've got I know plenty of Libras that aren't physically beautiful per se, but then they've also got this, they'll have this nature to them where they're good at harmonizing, whether it's in conversation or debate. You know, they can sit and have a debate with you, but they can do it in such a way that you feel like you're not sure if you're laughing half the time, or are we debating, or, you know, there's a sociability and a harmonizing nature to Libra. Now, Libra is also, you've got someone artistic, ruled by Venus, artistic in a different way, different from, like, let's say a Taurus, which is also a Venusian zodiac sign. Libra is going to be artistic. It's going to start with an idea. It's going to start with an idea that is in their head, and many times Libra's like conceptual art, or if they were to be someone that liked graphic t-shirts, they would prefer ones that had words on them that conveyed a message, you know, like quotes and things like that. That's Libran. Libras love to read. They love to learn. They are trying to find the common ground in the world. So reading is something that many times is enjoyable for them. There is an androgyny to Libra, which is really interesting. Libran females many times feel, in my mind, all the Libran females that I know, they'll have an external thing that's, you know, feminine. That whether they're beautiful or not, there's a femininity to the way that they express externally. But then you get to know them, and they're quite masculine. There can be a logical nature to the way that they think. They can even be detached in certain situations. They can have this impartiality to them, where they'll look at the situation from a place of ration rather than a place of emotion, and that can be confusing to people because it's different than the way that they sort of appear on the outside. They call Librans, they say they're the iron fist in the velvet glove, and that's true. Librans, it's because of the coolness and the air that's in them. They can detach themselves from outcome, and so this makes them good, like negotiators, good counselors. They're good at getting two people to kind of come together and agree with one another and, like, let's make this work. In my house, when I have the three older kids fighting with each other, it's my fourth, my youngest one, that goes and sits and is reading a book quietly, and it's like, guys, you need to be quiet. You're being really rude. Like, stop fighting. You know, that's a Libra, and so they're uncomfortable with situations where it's when it's irrational, when it's fighting. It's like, this makes no sense. Why are you fighting over this? This is stupid. That's Libra, okay? And then the Libra men, they have more of a feminine quality. I was married to a Libra man, a wonderful man, married to him for 13 years. Has always been, he's a good gift giver. And always, whenever he bought me a pair of shoes or boots, those were the things that all my girlfriends would be like, those are so cute. Where'd you get those? You know, and like, Travis got them for me, you know, of course, you know. And so with Libra men, they'll have many times this pleasant, if they're not straight up attractive, which is very common again for Libras and Venus types, they are charming. They're charming, and they have this little smile to them and this great conversational energy. They love to talk and see what you think about things, and they want to find out about you. And, you know, they can be a little vain. Libra men are known for that. Libra females too, both. They can be a little bit vain and don't enjoy getting older, but they'll fight it tooth and nail. But, you know, for the most part, Librans are, there's a diplomacy, a sweetness, and a kindness there, and they're great lovers. They're great at relationship. They want to find common ground and make things fair. Okay, so with a low-functioning Libra, we've got someone who can be a little too vain. I think they're a little shallow at times, and in their relationships even. Look at that moon. That's really important to take a peek at. Librans, hopefully, if they've got a nice earthy or a watery moon, or a moon that's in an earth or a watery house, it's going to give them more depth to their emotions. But they can be truly detached, and even in their romantic relationships, they can be in love with the idea of the relationship and, you know, the surface interaction with this other person, but perhaps lacking a deeper connection, and maybe even having a fantasy life in their head of this ideal lover, sort of like a Virgo in a way, but different. And taking pleasure in that place that's not even real. It's the idea of what love is rather than the actual partner. They can do that. They can be indecisive. That's many times because they're in the middle. The thought is, you know, that they're weighing all options, and they're taking in many options instead of like, okay, let's take action now and move forward. I'm a Libra. I don't necessarily think that that's true. I think that Oh, but I do have an Aries moon, so that's probably why that makes me, I can't stand indecision actually. But but with a Libra, it's like they don't want to step on toes as well. So sometimes they feel when it's like making a decision, it takes them a second because like, if I do that, that might bother this person, or if I do that, it might not be what I want. So they can be indecisive. They can also overly intellectualize their emotions. They can feel sad and not want to feel sad, and so then they'll want to talk about it and discuss it perhaps, but they will want to make it make sense, and they'll want to talk it away. They'll want to rationalize it. They won't really appreciate being seen as someone who is emo or having a moment where they're trapped or swept up in their emotions. That's not a place a Libra really likes to be. That's a place of extreme, right? The Libra wants to be kind of in the middle where they've got it all balanced and they're grounded. It's also, to me, the inner marriage, okay, between the masculine and the feminine is a strong sort of thing to think of when you think of a Libra. That's why you've got the androgyny between the male and female Libras. There's a strong sense of masculine and feminine. They have, if it's a female, she's got a strong anima, masculine part to her, and if it's a male, he's going to have a strong I'm sorry, I just said that backwards. Female would be animus and male would be anima. My bad. So, but their inner masculine and feminine will be healthy and strong. So Libra's in love. Libra in love, this is the sign that rules relationship. Traditionally, it's the seventh house, it's partnership. To me, what's interesting is the seventh house is not a house that is like a smoldering, passionate house. It's a house of compromise and relating and finding harmony and finding balance. And these things are all quite rational and logical and make sense, okay? So Libra in love, first and foremost, they really do want to have a relationship that's peaceful and harmonious and pleasurable. If this is not enjoyable, why are we doing it? That doesn't make any sense to a Libra. If it's not enjoyable, I'm not going to do this anymore. This doesn't work for me. There is, again, that being in love with love. So searching for that elusive true love, and then having to settle with one partner can be difficult for an Aries, as it can be for many of the air signs, just because there's this high degree of sort of overthinking things. And with an Aries, a Libra, they're wanting that ideal thing they have in their head that may not be real. So Libra's expectations in love, again, they have this ideal of what they think partnership should be. They're looking for happiness in love. That is a primary driver of a Libra, would be relationship. Even if you've got a Libra, like John Mayer, for example, he's a Libra, and he's got some really interesting things in his birth chart. But at any rate, he's a great example of a Libra man who is like always in a relationship, but like always in a relationship, like lots of different relationships, right? So it's this, what's that called? The serial monogamist thing can be happening with a Libra. And also, I know he had that issue with pornography that he talked about, and that is the projection of the feminine, the projection of his very strong anima onto these women and objectifying. It's like he's making love to all these nymphs and making love to the divine feminine. That's pornography. So that can happen with Libra. I'm not saying the Librans are porn addicts or anything like that, but what I'm saying is there is this ideal of what the ideal masculine is and what the ideal feminine is. And so the Libra can sometimes just never be satisfied because you will never find someone who embodies all of those traits and characteristics in one entity. So that can be tricky. Just do your best as a partner of a Libra to keep things harmonious and fun. And they need new things to talk about. They love art, they love music. Librans love cultural experiences, museums, history, take them to see things. And they love food, restaurants, nice things. This is a Venusian sign, so they're going to appreciate the finer things in life, but they're quite refined. It's not typically a gaudy appreciation of material objects. It's more the refined appreciation, like a nice painting or a book, an antique book or something like that would be something a Libra would appreciate having in their life. And also these grand gestures, these expressions of romance. A Libra would love if you wrote them a love letter, if you put your thoughts into words or music or songs with lyrics that are meaningful. That's a Libra would appreciate that. So Libra's biggest fear, and I say this as a Libra, twofold. It's quite interesting to be seen as ugly, and this is not just physically ugly. This is ugly in all ways, shape, and form, and to be seen as someone who's not intelligent. To them, that would be sort of the same thing. That would be being intellectually crude. So Libras appreciate harmony and beauty, and they want to be seen as harmonious and beautiful in all ways, not just, again, not just physically or the way that they relate to you personally, but that just as a human being, they want to be seen as a refined version of what it means to be human. And they're Renaissance people. Libras are known because they're in the middle of the zodiac again. They have their feelers kind of in everything. They can relate to all different types of people because they're sort of that neutral energy in the middle. So they're also interested in a lot of different things, and they have a lot of disparate interests. So they feel sometimes just like a Gemini, that same sense of maybe I'm not that deep because I have all these diversive interests instead of being epistemic with something. You know, I'm curious about all these things instead of, you know, just one thing. And, you know, just let the Libra know that they're okay and they're just great the way that they are, and encourage their many interests because it's not going to change. It's just how they're built. And talk to them, have conversation with them about them, and bring them, give your Libra a painting. They'll love that. Okay. Taurus and Libra. With Taurus and Libra, we've got two signs who are both ruled by the planet Venus, which means that they have qualities that are Venusian. Taurus is more the earthly five senses version of Venus, the pleasures that Venus sort of rules of the body. Libra is also this Venus, but Libra, because Libra is an air sign, whereas Taurus is earth, the body, Libra's air, the mind. So Libra is more about art and music and the beauty of ideas and the idea of love, okay? So while these two come together, and they definitely will enjoy food and pleasures and sexuality together in the body and all these things, because both do enjoy these things. There will be a little bit of a difference, and Taurus will feel a little bit more, maybe perhaps almost mysterious even, maybe to the Libra at first. And Libra may seem quite refined to the Taurus at first, but things will change as the relationship evolves. Okay, long-term interaction, you could have issues with the Taurus sort of pushing the Libra a little too far. The Taurus is going to be more the fixed, solid one, and the Libra is going to be the one that sort of is more emotionally flexible and bendable, and so will do what the Taurus wants the Libra to do. The Libra, though, could get a little irritated with this if the Taurus isn't being fair, and if the Taurus is always expecting their way. The Libra will start to feel like the Taurus is being very bossy and won't appreciate being bulldozed. And the Taurus, on the other hand, the Libra's a bit flirtatious. Libras are social, they're an air sign, and so Taurus can feel as though the Libra is, you know, perhaps pushing the boundaries a little bit when it comes to loyalty with their flirtatious nature and their need for members of the opposite sex who are also their friends. So that's long-term conflict. Specific areas of conflict, like I said earlier, you know, you do have one person who is a little bit more stubborn and one person who's more vacillating, but the stubborn person at times will be irritated by the vacillation. The vacillating person will be irritated by the stubbornness, and this is where these two will kind of butt heads. Also, Taurus is a little brute and can be a little crude, and Libra is a little more refined, so Libra can at times be irritated by, while Libras can be, especially Libra females, can be kind of very earthy in an interesting way. They also still, there's a line that's drawn in the sand that they won't cross, and if it goes over that line and it's just, you know, overtly gross sexual jokes or innuendo, like to a certain amount they think's funny and they will enjoy and go along with, but if it gets into the just kind of gross, crude area, Libra will not be impressed. And I'm using humor as a sort of a metaphor here for these two, but it sort of shows you like the Taurus might eat their food quickly without paying attention to the noises that they're making, or they might be eating and dropping crumbs everywhere, and that's Libra's like, what are you doing, you know? There's a little difference in the way that, in their level of refinement, I suppose. Long-term harmony, though, between these two, because they are both Venusian, they will enjoy like going out and eating together, listening to music together, dancing, you know, even if this is I've got a daughter that's a Taurus, I'm a Libra, and, you know, we enjoy we went to the beach, went to California on a vacation, so just going somewhere and experiencing something together, but we just mainly enjoyed the beach and sort of the pleasures, the sunshine, and, you know, taking pictures, and this is sort of the arts they will enjoy together. If it's more of a practical art like photography, or, you know, something where you're making something together, crafting together, that would be something fun between these two. Okay, how others will see this partnership, it's a little bit of an interesting partnership where you've got pretty solid, it's sort of different depending on gender, but you've got kind of that solid, earthy, grounded quietness of Taurus mixed with sort of the bubbly, sprightly attitude that a Libra can kind of have about them, the social smiley thing that Libras tend to have going on. But the two can be, you know, the biggest areas of conflict between these two also, I would say, I know this is going back to, I'm not even in the right area talking about this, but the Taurus is not also as verbal as the Libra. The Taurus is not going to be overtly, I love you, you know, blah, blah, blah. They're not, you know, over the top with that. The Libra will feel a little bit, will appreciate those words, okay? The Taurus will say, I love you, and we'll have said it once, and we'll feel like it's said it, you know, especially with a Taurus male. The Libran female sort of needs that communication to be open, the communication of love to be open.